Welcome to BFC Live, the daily video and podcast series of Business of Cannabis. BFC Live highlights the companies, brands, people, and trends driving the global cannabis sector. Learn more at businessofcannabis.com. Coming up on this BFC Live, we connect with Wang of the CannDelta team. She'll be talking to us about what we need to know about lab testing in psychedelics. She comes from a long background in pharma and cannabis. So stay tuned for a conversation with Wang from CannDelta. Ellen, thank you for being here.
Hi, Jay. Thanks to having me.
Well, I like having the folks from CannDelta because anytime that we get people who know really important stuff, we like to have them share it, and it happens a lot with the CannDelta team. Tell us a little bit before we get going, a little bit about your background before you got to CannDelta.
Sure. I have a background in chemistry, and I have over 10 years experience in quality and compliance in pharmaceutical and cannabis industry. Prior to joining CannDelta, I worked at Tilray as the global quality and stability lead. Before that, I also worked at Apotex as a stability supervisor. So I have gained a lot of experience in stability management, quality control, and quality assurance in both GPP and GMP environments.
Okay, so vast and lots of experience from pharmaceuticals and into cannabis. And today we're going to be talking about psychedelics, actually, something else that CannDelta does, and specifically around, I think, lab testing. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it a big difference between cannabis lab testing and psychedelics lab testing?
Oh, that's a really good question. We got the same question from a lot of our clients too. For both lab, I will say they are different, but at the meantime, they are similar. Let me give you some example. For cannabis testing, the lab needed to have a cannabis analytical testing license from Health Canada and comply with cannabis regulation. For psychedelics testing, the lab needed to hold a Health Canada license. It's a controlled drug and substance dealer's license, and complies with controlled drug and substance regulation. So accordingly, because the license requires different, so that's a required level to have a different security level and also inventory system. They are different.
Okay.
From a quality perspective, both levels are similar. So the lab should have a robust quality control system, to establish standard operating procedure, as we normally say SOPs, to perform all the lab testing, and also all the methods used should be validated. So in this aspect, both labs are similar.
Okay, and I know you have a little bit of a presentation for us today to talk about how to select a third-party laboratory for psychedelics testing, because the industry is so new, and love to have you walk us through that. Is that okay?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So for selecting a third-party lab, it is critical because you choose a partner to work with you and to trust with your reputation and integrity of your company. So basically, for me, I think at least 4 key factors affect to select testing lab. The first one is the cost. So the I think that's everyone wanted to know the price of the testing. So when you select the lab, you need to shopping around to see the price is competitive. Is there any volume or incentive available so you can get a better price? But at the meantime, you need to ensure you got a good quality too. So that's the reason you can check around at least 3 labs in order to get a cost effective and high quality data. The second factor is the turnaround time. So as you know, turnaround time is significant factor to affect your selecting lab, because sometimes if turnaround time is too long, you cannot get your result in a timely manner, and this can affect your release your products, and also affect the marketing timeline. Eventually affect your cost too. The third one is customer service. So this relates the question, how is the customer of lab? If you have questioning, can you reach the lab quickly? Can you go to the support from them on your video results? So that's the factor that people always like to check before to work with the lab. The fourth one is the quality. I can give you a question. So if from cost, turnaround time, customer service, and quality, what do you choose? What do you think is the most important factor you think?
I would think quality, because you don't want to mess that up. Because you
that's absolutely
cheap, fast, and friendly. So that's cost, turnaround time, and customer service. But if it's not very good, then you're in trouble. And I know that in your background, the word quality came up a lot. So I'm going to bet quality.
I like quality too, because the ultimate goal, you got accurate and reliable results. If you got unreliable results, you can affect your product quality, safety, and efficacy too. So in order to have a high quality data, so normally we evaluate a lab. First, check the lab accreditation. If the lab have a license. So for psychedelic test, they are normally required control drug and substance dealers license, as we discussed earlier. But for this license, for each substance, it is required to add it to your license. So for example, for psilocybin test, in order to perform a psilocybin test, you need a psilocybin on your license. If not on your license, it's not allowed to do it.
Right.
Another aspect to check a lab is has a quality standard. So currently, we normally have ISO 17025 certification, GLP compliant or GMP compliant. So ISO 17025, ISO stands for International Standard, International Organization for Standardization. It is a quality system and a main standard specific for testing lab. So in order to get ISO certification, the lab quality system and technical requirements are evaluated by a third party. So auditing are required regularly to maintain this accreditation. For the GMP, GMP standard for good manufacturing practice. It is a practice required for for manufacturing your product, to check whether your product is manufactured according to preset criteria. Another one is GLP. GLP stands for Good Laboratory Practice. It is a regulation and required for mainly for research and develop studies. So a lot of people got confused of the difference between GLP and GMP. So both are similar, but they do serve a different purpose. So the simple way to different GLP and GMP is to check if they lie in different research and method developing study. GLP mainly focus on the study. Like when you perform the study, you have an efficacy test, safety test. So this normally require a GLP. For GMP, it's based on the process. It's the manufacturer needed to demonstrate to Health Canada or other regular agents if you make the product according to the preset criteria. So whether you choose ISO standard, GMP, and GMP, it depends on your products, and also depend on the requirement of the releasing methods. So generally for the research, for psilocybin test, is for your research purpose, you can go lab with ISO certification. But for the release the pharmaceutical final product, you have to do with the GMP lab.
Okay.
So another aspect to check to maintain the high quality, the lab will need to have a robust lab quality control system. So the system to ensure you have a consistent procedure to follow in order to get accurate and reliable data. The first one I think you may heard a lot of times is standard operating procedures, SOPs. So the SOP should in place for psychedelics testing to cover from receiving sample transfer, sample preparation, the testing methods, and whether your method validates, and also standard handling, prepare CA, and the training, all this to ensure in place. For sample management, the lab should have a adequate system to ensure sample integrity. So sample how to install, transferred, and have good inventory to keep sample keep its quality and also not mess up. For lab equipment, so each lab they should have a inventory for their lab equipment, and all the equipment should be calibrated and qualified to meet its intended use. The other aspect is a reference standard, because when we do potency test or other impurity tests, you need a reference standard. The standard should be handled and stored in intended storage condition. And also for any in-house standard, the lab should have a procedure how to do certification and recertification, and how to release before to use. And as for the cannabis testing, psychedelics, they also have used validated testing methods. If they have like any failure, like out of specification, the lab should have a SOP in place to fully investigate the failure result. Excuse me. So all the investigation should be properly performed, and the root cause of failure should be addressed. So following that root cause, proper corrective and preventive action should be performed. For any data analysis, the lab should have a routine procedure how to store the dates, even for the electronic data and the paper-based dates. After all the testing, the lab need to prepare a CA for the company. They should have the formatting, generation, and procedure, and the content and the approve process in place in order you got to write CA for the customer. And also the lab should have a cross-contamination control. This control can form like sample management. So that's also the key point. And also lab equipment cleaning, environmental control, and also personnel. You should have a proper personnel hygiene in order to perform all the testing. The other most important aspect is the training. So the lab staff should have a combined qualification, and like you have a proper education, training, and experience, know how to handle the sample, how to perform the test. For the training, the lab should have like a regular training and also orientation training for the new staff. So from standard operating procedure, sample management to all the training, all this process should be well documented. So that's the key part in order to have a good laboratory system in place. To ensure that the high quality, the third aspect, the lab should have like a quality assurance agreement about the two parties. Quality assurance agreement is the key element for the vendor qualification. It is a mutual agreement for the responsibility of our two party to ensure high quality and accurate testing results. So typical quality assurance agreement include the purpose, scope, like a communication, secrecy, auditing, but also they include other specific requirements related to the test. So in summary, to have a high quality testing result, first you should ensure lab have a lab accreditation and establish robust quality control system, and also ensure the quality assurance agreement in place.
Yeah, I just learned a lot about well, testing labs, but specific to psychedelics, and I wonder, have you found, are there a lot of labs doing this psychedelics testing?
Yeah. So I think it's complex to select a third-party testing lab, and it's also complex for the quality control system. I think people have a lot of questions about this. They are welcome to contact CannDelta. We can help. So we can help not only for the lab accreditation and process quality control system auditing, and also we have the dealer's license application for testing lab research and pharmaceutical protection. So if anyone has a question, they are welcome to contact CannDelta.
Yeah, I think they should. Ellen, I want to thank you for being here this morning, and we will connect with you and the CannDelta team in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Thank you to have me.
You got it. That was Ellen Wang of CannDelta. If you like this program, please rate us on Apple Podcast or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. It helps support the work we do. Thank you for joining us on BofC Live today. We're able to do what we do thanks to our ongoing partners, including Cannabis at Work, Cannabis Benchmarks, CannDelta, Headset, Gallagher, and Torque & Mains.